Good afternoon, everyone. Dear colleagues, dear guests from our distinguished European partnership. Welcome to Ilia University, and thank you for joining us to this very important workshop that we organize on ethical use of AI, both in research, teaching, or any processes that we do together. It's a pleasure to open this discussion and workshop. I won't take much of your time because I would like to allow the time for our valued guests, but I would like to briefly mention kind of the context, how we are delivering this workshop and what we have been doing at Ilia University in terms of the ethics, integrity, and AI use. Artificial intelligence is not the future, it's already embedded into the everyday and primary processes of Ilia University in teaching and learning and research. And we believe that kicking off this discussion, this is not the first time that we are doing it, but we would like to have a series of the workshops and trainings and potentially the strategy and policy and the governance in place to, in addition to the integrity and ethics issues that we already manage at the institution. Institutionally, we would like to add the AI dimension as everyone else is doing. I believe that we haven't delayed this activity. There was some criticism about why university doesn't have the AI policy in place, but we believe in individual kind of the trust that we built in the faculty and students. But the most importantly, I believe that we need to have the strategy in place in addition to the policy, but most important thing is the governance and the capacity building. So the capacity building, I mean that we need to have all these resources in place, the capacity building of the faculty, and also the awareness among students, how to best embed and use the AI in our everyday life. As I said, Ilia University is doing everything under the public trust kind of the mandate. We believe that what we have been doing over the past 20 years, especially in the integrity issues in teaching and learning, and coupled with the ethics issues in research, we are doing it with integrity and ethics to gain the public trust. So we started the project in 2014 in integrity in teaching and learning. Everyone knows about this project. It's called Integrity Program, and we launched this project together with 15 higher education institutions in Georgia, including the Ministry of Education, Science and Youth, and also the National Quality Enhancement Unit in Georgia. And Ilia University was the first university in Georgia to introduce the policy and practices of integrity and plagiarism issues in Georgian higher education academia for the first time in Georgia. And it was the Turnitin program that we introduced, and we gave the 60,000 licenses to Georgian universities to use in teaching and learning, and up to 60,000 students were informed and trained, and more than 300 academic and administrative staff was trained in these issues, how to best use the Turnitin program. And we also launched the PR campaign to raise awareness among students on plagiarism issues, and we successfully finished this project in 2021. And followed to that project, we started another project which is called Ethics in Research, Responsible Conduct of Research in Georgian universities. And again, we gathered together 10 Georgian universities, together with the Ministry of Education and Science, Restorative Foundation, and National Quality Enhancement Office. And we believe that we are doing all these activities for the third mission of the university and the responsibility that we have. And we managed to build the ecosystem in teaching and learning in terms of the integrity issues. Now we're building the research integrity and ethics issues in the research profile, and then AI came into place to add to this dimension. With these two projects, we accumulated so many years of the experience that we opened the Academic Integrity Center. The Giga Hositashvili is the head of this center, and he will speak about the center and the future plan. But what I wanted to tell you is that we were the only institution in Georgia, kind of the leadership we took to manage all these issues in Georgia, together with the help of the European partners. And with this center, we have so many plans in place. We are closing this project ethics program this year, and we will be hosting the annual conference in Batumi to close the project, this national project, and also host the European Network of Academic Integrity, as you can see. And the representative Thomas is visiting us today. And this will be the first time in Georgia to organize a conference dedicated to these issues. And the theme of this year's conference is also the ethics, doing the higher education processes with ethics and integrity. Today's workshop will be organized under this project. So Ilia State University has mobilized the resources to attract these distinguished guests to come and give a training, kind of a workshop for 2 hours. And I wish you best of luck, an interesting discussion and dialogue, and I'm very much looking forward to the discussion today, because as one of the person to make a decision in the future, I would like to see Ilia State University to have proper strategy, policy, and especially the governance to manage such a challenging, while at the same time very kind of exciting component of AI. And I believe that starting today, it will be a kind of a strong starting point of the institutional processes that we together use AI to assist our services while we deliver teaching, learning, and research. Thank you very much, and I'm very much looking forward to the discussion today. And yeah, please.
Well, thank you. Good afternoon. I'm happy to see familiar faces here. Although we got almost 200 participants registered, but we didn't end up with that number. But still, we're very happy. On the one hand, to see people in this room. On another hand, to host our colleagues from United Kingdom and Czech Republic. So I won't take that much of your time. I will just briefly tell you that from January this year at Ilia State University, a new Center for Distance Education and Academic Integrity will start functioning. We will have to focus here. We will help academics, the faculty members, to develop their courses fully online if there will be such need, or we will also help to design the study programs that will be delivered fully online, and hopefully the legislation will be changed by the end of 2026, and we will be able to do that. And another focus will be the principles of academic integrity, including those related to the ethical usage of AI. And we will be sending emails shortly to you. So the idea is that we wish to have a board of faculty members who are interested in developing this kind of regulations, mechanisms. And you can voice, in this group, you can share your opinions. So we will be working closely to you to develop the institutional policy regarding the AI. And yeah, I think that that was very briefly about the center itself. So we will design the web page for that, and we will be sharing this. We were recording this session, just a technical remark here, so I will ask all the participants to use the microphone when it comes to speaking, and we will be sharing these recordings to you, as well as those who are registered and for some reasons they could not attend the workshop today. So we can start with the presentations. The first speaker, I would like to invite Tomasz Foltyniec, who is the President of the European Association for Academic Integrity. I remember myself drafting my PhD thesis and citing Tomasz paper a lot, but now it's we have a possibility to listen to him. So yeah.
Is that my conference?
Yeah,
Introduced, or?
yeah, you can. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. Before starting with the workshop activity, Category talked about the conference, European Conference on Ethics and Integrity in Academia, which is part of the ethics project. So here are the dates. It's 14th to 16th of September in Batumi, Georgia, and as you can see, the deadline for abstract submission is still in front of us. So if you have something to share, feel free to submit the abstract. And the website is academicintegrity.eu/conference.
You want me to help you?
Yeah,
So, and now to the first part of this workshop. The aim is to identify some issues that are related to using generative AI in research. So I have a couple of questions for you at the beginning. Like, if you can raise your hand if you use some generative AI tools regularly in your work. So who does use them? Half of the people. Yeah. Who can say that it saves your time using these tools? Yeah. And who has some concerns and is afraid of some consequences of using AI tools? Okay, yeah. So this is exactly what this part will be about. And it mainly comes from the paper that my colleagues and I published in International Journal for Educational Integrity last year, and it's about maintaining research integrity in the age of generative AI. So we analyzed ethical challenges and provided some recommendations for researchers. So this was the work of the working group that we have within the European Network for Academic Integrity, the working group on technology and academic integrity. So after publishing the recommendations on ethical use of AI in education 2 years ago, so last year we focused on ethical use of Gen AI in research. And when we were thinking of a starting point, like where to start, we took the European Code of Conduct for Research Integrity, because we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. So this is the document that defines the basic values that all the researchers should stick to. And these values are reliability, in ensuring quality research, and that reliability has to go throughout all research phases: design, methodology, data analysis, publication, use of resources. And also, another value is honesty, and again, honesty in all phases of research project: developing, undertaking, reviewing, reporting, communicating research in transparent, fair, full, and unbiased way. Then it's respect for colleagues, respect for research participants, respect for the whole society, cultural heritage, ecosystems, environment. And accountability, and again, in all phases of research projects, from the idea to publication, and also from all viewpoints: management, organization, training, supervision, mentoring, for wider impact. So these are the values that are still here and still important, no matter whether it's just humans or human in cooperation with AI, or AI itself as an agentic system. The research should stick to all these values. So how did we organize our research? How did we organize our paper? So we took different phases, different activities during the research projects, and then we try to identify the risks or issues that are relevant when you use Gen AI in some of this phase. Yeah, so if you imagine the process from the very idea when you need to formulate the hypothesis, formulate the research questions to the paper. So then you go through the literature review, you have to design the study, design the experiment, conduct the experiment, collect the data. Then there is processing data and analysis. Sometimes it involves anonymization. The analysis can be qualitative or quantitative. For data analysis, you need some code, so you can again have some AI tools that help you to generate that code. Under some circumstances, the AI image generation comes into place, and then there is writing of the paper, and in the end, it's peer review and ethical publishing. And in all these stages, there comes into play some challenges. I rather use the word challenges than problems, even though from some certain viewpoint it is a problem, but I better or rather frame it positively as challenges, because this also brings not only problems but also opportunities. But let's talk now about the problems. First is lack of transparency. All these tools are basically black boxes. Even though the companies publish the general schemes of how these models work and have some general overview of the training data, basically neither users nor experts have an idea, a full understanding of the training data. We know that it was trained on the large amount of texts taken from internet, containing a lot of things that we would not like to see. And it's basically the black box. So we have the outputs, and it's difficult to track how exactly these outputs were created. Sometimes there are copyright breaches. The authors of the language models usually didn't ask the creators of original content whether they can use it to train their models. So there are still some ongoing lawsuits, and we will see how it goes. But certainly the copyright is not entirely okay in terms of language models. It also comes together with privacy concerns. In order to be able to get something out of these generative AI tools, you typically have to upload some data. You are uploading some papers and asking for summary. You are uploading, let's say, student work and asking for feedback. And that's really thin ice. Yeah? You have to be sure what is the license there, if you are allowed to upload the document to the tool, and what that tool will be doing with that document. Then there is a risk of inadvertent plagiarism, which relates to copyright breaches. Sometimes when you ask the tool to generate some text, it can be very similar to some source that was present in the training data. So then it may look like plagiarism, because you as a human user are ultimately responsible for the content. So then if it is too similar to some other source, it goes through some text matching software. So there easily can be an accusation of plagiarism. Bias is related to lack of transparency. The training data contained a lot of texts that were inherently biased, like racistic sexistic texts that are in the that are embedded in the model, and these biases that can manifest the harmful stereotypes that were in the society. And it was trained on what the society produced throughout the times, and we know that also the bad things that the society produced are there. The providers of that systems are aware of some negative sides, so they implement some measures, some filters that prevent us from, let's say, asking how to create a bomb or some things. But in certain areas of human activity, this may prevent researchers from free conversation with these AI tools. For example, if my area is computer science, it's basically okay. So I can have a discussion about my research project in the area of computer science. But one of the team members or co-authors of that paper is doing research in genocide, and she's not able to have the discussion about genocide and circumstances leading to genocide, because that it will be blocked by the ethical filters of that tools. And last but not least, actually this is something that is most widely discussed, is the hallucinations and fabrications of the data. What is at the base of contemporary generative AI tools are language models that are trained to predict following words that fits into the context, and it doesn't have anything to do with factual correctness. And these models are trained to produce coherent text, which looks plausible but may contain false information, misinformation, and sometimes it can be produced to it can be used to produce false data sets. So this was just a brief summary of problems, and of course, we could take every of these bullet points and talk hours about that, because it's not black and white. It's not it's easy to identify, but there are certainly a lot of issues that we should be aware of. And it doesn't really matter when we use the chatbot like ChatGPT or Google Gemini or other, or if it is some more sophisticated tool that is built on top of that language models, notebook LMs or research rabbits, or I don't know, many tools that are designed specifically to help researchers. So now I would like you to discuss in small groups. So we have, I think you can form small groups of 2, 4, maybe 5 people, depending how you sit together. And the task for each group will be to select a research phase from the list. So it's on the right. So either formulating hypotheses, or literature review, or study, data collection, data processing and analysis, writing a paper, or peer review. And then identify which of these problems that I already presented, or if there are some other problems, so which problems can occur during that research phase, and what should be the response. And the response can have 2 viewpoints. Viewpoint of the researcher, so what should the researchers do to prevent these problems, and what should institutions do to prevent them. So what should be embedded in the policy, for example, what regulations should be in place, and so on. So we then won't have time for every group to share, but I would like to pick at least some three important things that come out of your discussion. Yeah. So to choose the research phase, identify problems, and discuss how researchers and how institutions can prevent these problems.
The corpus and feed AI with it, and then we ask to produce an entry. Sometimes AI produces really good meanings, polysemous meanings, even example sentences. It can even create example sentences. But the problem is that one entry may be very good and the other entry may be false. So how you prevent that? You need to be professional to be able to evaluate. And if you are a professional, there is no danger. You can use AI as your very good assistant. So this is my impression so far from my experience. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, the necessity of human expertise is really important. Okay, thank you very much for the discussion. Thank you for sharing the thoughts. And now I will hand over to Shiva. So after identifying the problems that may occur, we will now dive deeper into the problems, and Shiva will also share how they handle it at Roehampton University.
So everywhere I go, I think I need to introduce myself because of my last name or the surname. Do not worry about the surname. You can call me Shiva. But just for the introduction, I am Dr. Shiva Sivasubramaniam. Don't even bother pronouncing it. I'm from the School of Life and Health Sciences, and I'm also the board member of European Network of Academic Integrity. And I think I need to thank Thomas and Inai for funding me to be here to give this kind of workshop stroke presentation. And also, I'm really proud to note that Ilia State University was leading the teaching side of the integrity, and then now the research side of integrity, and most importantly, they have developed the network and then developing a new program about integrity to teach students. So well done. From that, I will start with my kind of presentation. Sorry about this. I always use this guy before I start. I mean, I started using this guy during the COVID-19 because that is the time where there were uncertainty that we were facing. And again, by the way, I'm from the life sciences or biomedical sciences, medical science related subject area. So he used to tell me.
There are known knowns.
Sorry, I got to reduce the.
That's why you chose me.
Yes, yeah. So this is the beautiful thing I like from him.
There are known knowns. There are things we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there's some things we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know.
So I would say more or less that is the same for AI as well. I mean, it started in COVID-19, but that will be for the AI as well. So we got opportunities, definitely. And one of the things I noticed when you raise your hands, it was really peculiar that those of you who raised their hand that who are as accepting that you are using, you also raised a hand that you got concerned about using. So that is the challenge we have. So we got some challenges, we got some opportunities as well. The challenges are the AI challenges, the foundation of learning, authorship and expertise, and also the cognitive process, the human cognitive process. I mean, I can give you one example from my side of it, because I'm a middle manager, so I'm the deputy dean there. So I am normally used to handling the difficult academics. So whenever I send an email, sometime I need to talk about some considered as rude language. So what I do is I started using AI, writing the rude language, whatever in the way I wanted, and I wanted the AI to transform it to a professional language. And I found out it's transformed the email communication I wanted to write in such a way no one can sue me. Right? It is shouting at them, but no one can sue me. But the problem is, after some time, I lost the ability to think about my own self, how to write this self, because I know that backup is there. Why should I write and then ask AI to change it? Why can't I ask AI to write it itself? That is where the problem starts. So, and on the other hand, the AI can help students to develop critical thinking and learning process. There are papers, there are manuscripts that are being written or being published that if it used effectively, it can be a tutor, and especially with the help of the human tutors. And additionally, you can use AI as well. But all the time we were talking about AI in writing. But in a medical side of it, there are other areas where they have already used the AI. So the image synthesis, noise reduction, data augmentation, image enhancement, personalized medicine to develop a drug regime for a particular patient suffering from a particular disease or part of the disease, and clinical decision support, pathology prediction, and super resolution. So in medicine, we have already started using it. But the problem is, the medical related, we call it PSRB, the professional standard agencies, they expect us to teach them to become AI centric, and when they go to the industry, in a medical industry or the pharmaceutical industry, they should be able to use the AI, but also they are expecting us to teach them use the AI effectively. That is where the problem starts. And if you look at it, if you look at the AI in research, just to expand a little bit of what Thomas has already centered, this is more or less my mind map about from idea generation up to the publication submission, AI has been used. Since Thomas has already covered this, I'm just going to skip over this. But AI in research is using every single topic or part of the AI research, AI is helping or is being used by AI. And if you extrapolate that in the AI in education and learning, and there are additionally, the students are using, even some universities are developed revision app and assessment support app using AI. I'm not saying that is working beautifully, it's not, but at least they started using that as well. Self-testing, our university is using a self-testing or quizzing. Students are effectively engaging that, revision planning, so on and so forth. And some of the international students, they are using as a translating tool, because they got the answer in their mind, in their language. But all this time, they are finding it difficult to translate in English. So they are using AI tools to translate in English. Some of them become effective AI use, and others are going to more or less cross-language copying. They cut and paste it back as well. And also last-minute checks for the essay, and this is the main issues we are having everywhere as well. And then when we talk about policy. I'll go to the policy in a minute, but the policies, if you haven't got a policy, don't be worried, because many universities haven't got the proper policies. And those days, when I was a student, that is a very long time ago, just after the dinosaur has vanished, if there is a policy, the policy documentation is very stale and old, because once the policy is made, that is there forever. But not for the AI policy. We need to change probably every minute. That is the issue that many universities are postponing, the policy development. So if you look at it, what happens for AI in teaching, we are using AI, academics, because you all confess that you are using it. Academics, we are using AI to design assessment or redesign assessment. And the students are using AI to complete the assessment. And we are using AI to mark the assessment. And AI is also being used in some cases to detect the assessment. And then if the detection happens, you use the AI to write a complaint. And if the students say that, oh, you have used AI to mark my submission, they used AI to write a complaint. And then the AI is again used to address the complaint. So in the end, we are ending up using AI all the time. And then we're still saying that, oh yeah, AI is challenging. So we need to find a way out this cycle. And this is not actually my, the concept is from one of my professors in the University of Roehampton. I changed it as a cycle. So let us move on to the AI use in text generation. I mean, one of the things that Irene is really careful when I develop this, and then I get her advice on that. She said that we need to highlight the other uses of AI, especially in medicine. That's what I highlighted. But let's concentrate on the text generation. So the AI can be used in the text improvement tools, and there are some examples given there. Language conversion tools, textual content generation tools, non-textual content generation tools. That means you wanted a flow chart, AI will draw a flow chart for you as well. And there are claims that they are detection tools as well. Let's come to that in a minute. So, what in my mind that the approach should be, there should be a clear, so to transform the challenges into opportunities, we need to have a clear policies first. That is the most important thing. From prohibition to partnership. So that means we try to work with AI, but make sure that students understand how to use it as well. And then we need to have the deterrence from detection to education. So that's what the rest of my presentation would be about, how to teach the students how to prompt and how not to select the first answer AI gave and cut and paste it rather than engaging it. And then we need to be clever in producing assessment. And I think, Thomas, whether you can remember this or not, very long time ago in 2000, in the Derby conference, I said, I have found the ways to ask assessment or change the assessment in such a way the assessment become AI resistant. All of them are redundant now because AI have improved. AI have improved, so it is actually can answer those things. So we need to be innovative in developing assessment, and then back to policies. But is that all? Do you think that I am missing anything? I purposely missed anything, one thing, because this triangle is based on the assumption all students are angels and they won't do anything outside the policies if you teach them properly, if you assess them properly. But not all of them are angels, but some of them they will do it and they are clever. About 20% of the students do all these kind of mischievous things. But out of 20%, at least 10% are really on the clever side of the students. So we need to also invest on detection. That we are not there yet. we need to think about the detection. There are some stylometric profiling, and the other thing is anything works, the oral verification is the only way out. You wrote it, so you should be able to defend it. So we'll go to that in a minute. So the AI policies, I'm not going to go through the entire policies. These are the 3 different areas that many universities, I'm summarizing, that revolve around their AI policy. One, they need to, students need to be told that what are the assessment that doesn't need AI, and they should not use AI. That is the green, that is the red. And the other one is AI use is encouraged, but the students are expected to explain how they used it, and then probably what are the prompts they use it, and properly acknowledge it. But can I ask you a question? As academic, have you got time to do all these things, checks, for 200 students? We don't have. So this is going to be redundant too soon, I think. And the other one is AI use expected. So especially, I got one example. In medicine or in bioinformatics, you can ask the students, we wanted you to use this AI system to answer the question. By using that, the students, unless otherwise they know how to use that AI system, they don't have time to waste on ChatGPT or other AI system. So that is how we got to move on as far as policy is concerned. The AI education, that is where we got to spend some time about the prompting and verification. We need to tell the students, or we need to use AI in such a way it come up with better questions rather than better answers. The answers you need to develop, or students need to develop, but it can lead you. That is where I said the AI can be a tutor. Is that you can write a question in such a way, or you can prompt the question in such a way that AI can be a tutor, or asking you the right question so that you can come up with question as well. But one thing for sure, AI is not responsible for anything it produces. Who is responsible? The person who is submitting the response or the essay or whatever. And also we need to move away from the reproduction style essay questions as well. And the human verification should be a mandatory step as well. And then we need to also explain to the student how effectively acknowledge the AI. We got a big problem in our hand, especially in future, probably by that time I would have retired, I hope, is the fact that the students are already been using AI in the school. Nobody telling them how to use it, how effectively use it, how to prompt it. So they would have come up with all the bad habits when they come to the university. And we need to fix it. Right? I mean, I always given this example as I ride motorbike, and I learned to ride motorbike in Sri Lanka, where I originally from. And I learned the bad way. So when I came to UK, when I applied for license, I failed twice because I am still using the bad way. So the instructor said that it is easy for me to teach somebody who is learning, but you learned everything bad way, so it's very difficult. In the end, I passed, but that is how the problem is. So, as far as prompting is concerned, let us give them some context to the students, rather than just saying, write an essay on this. Tell the AI, the student need to tell this AI about, I am the first year student, studying whatever. I need help to understanding whatever. The task the AI should be given, explain or summarize or compare. And you need to, the student, or you need to give a constraint, use simple language, only step-by-step explanation. I don't want the final answer from you. I only wanted you to prompt me to get my own final answer. And then you got to say the subject specific or everything. So if you look at an example, this is what I always give, this slide is actually give an example for our student. I'm a biomedical science student, explain sensitivity versus specificity step by step using a healthcare example without writing an exam answer. So it will give some idea. Then we ask the students to go through the web and then find the references, read them. It's an in-class assessment. Read them and write it. So that is one good example about prompting as well. And also we tell the students that they need to answer all these questions. If the answer to all these questions is yes or yes, then they can satisfactorily use the AI. So for example, can I confirm this from the lecture notes or the textbooks? So I can give you a story that in my psychology department, they developed an AI revision app. And they said it is an intranet. So they bought the ChatGPT and they use it intranet, not internet. So it will only answer the question based on the information available in the Moodle pages or the lecture notes. So just to prove them wrong, I asked a question outside the module, and then it says, oh, this module doesn't expect you to understand this. However, this is the answer. So you've got to be careful about that as well. So students need to confirm whether, can I confirm this is from the lecture notes or the textbook? In other words, we are making the students to read the lecture notes. And then, can I explain this without looking at the AI response? Right? But this is where I need to be a bit careful that some students, they can memorize and reproduce. And that is where I always tell my lectures and the professors that do not start asking the question about reproducible question because they can memorize and reproduce it. And then also relevance. Does this actually answer my assignment question? Have I rewritten this in my own words or voice? If the answer to everyone is yes, then it is, I'm not saying it's safe, but it is at least give that the confidence the student can say themselves that I can understand or I can humanly verify it as well. And also think about the integrity as well. So we are going to go through some good versus bad prompts. The bad prompt, write my essay on plagiarism. It will write a beautiful essay with the made up references. But there are, I would say, because everyone say that detecting AI related plagiarism is difficult. I would say not really. You can detect it, but you cannot prove it. So that is where the student will escape. You can detect it. The M dashes, the AI use dashes. And just by check the DOI is not found. So those things will give you, but we can't prove it for sure that that is the case. And also the better prompt from that is help me to outline the key points for an essay on plagiarism. Do not write the full paragraphs or full answer. The best prompt would be act as a tutor. The student can act as a tutor, ask me question to help me develop my own argument about plagiarism. So it's a same question, but we are asking different ways so that student will learn from the use of AI. One thing for sure, whatever we are going to tell them, students are not going to stop using AI. So we need to work with them. So that is how I priority. I don't know how many of you can remember this film, the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you can remember, one thing I can tell you for sure, like myself, you are too old. Right? So let us start with the ugly. So the prompting is for the student is provide a 300-word critical summary of peer-reviewed research on about AI in healthcare. What is wrong with it? why I am calling it ugly. Rather than doing group work, you got the answer, you can shout at me. It can be several reasons. The reasons I have found out is more or less expecting the AI to do your job. So, it's more or less kind of plagiarism, academic misconduct. And it's too vague, and AI can confuse what aspect of healthcare, what is the relationship with AI and healthcare. So, who is it for? There's no goal was given to AI. The audience was not classified, and we haven't given any constraint or anything. And it will more or less produce a generic answer. Just by reading the answer, we know that it's an AI-generated answer. However, we cannot actually prove it as well. So it's more or less asking for the direct answer. The other one is it is bad, but slightly better, is the provide a 300-word critical summary of peer-reviewed research on how AI is critically used in healthcare, aimed at final year medical students in the UK. So they have given the context, they have given the expectation, the student has given the area or the country as well, and also given an additional information. I only want one example on one ethical risk and the tone and non-technical as well. But still it's bad because it specifies the topic, which is generative AI and clinical decision support. It defines the audience, which is good, set the scope and length, requests the structure, controls the tone, but still expecting the LLM to do your job. In the end, he is more or less depending on that essay it produced, and he's going to cut and paste it and use it as well. So the good one is, this is more about the student. I am finally a medical student. I want you to act as a tutor and ask me questions to help me develop my own critical summary of peer-reviewed research on how AI is currently used in healthcare. Do not write the summary for me or provide ready-made paragraphs, right? And then this is more or less giving, more or less AI is tutoring the students. I know that why you are smiling, I'm going to give you the answer. Do you really think the students are going to do this? But they will actually go for the first one. And that's the reason you are smiling, but we need to teach them. But I have a feeling that there will be some students, they understand, because I know that from student questionnaire, we know that some students, they are worried. They wanted to use AI, but they're still not using AI because they are worried that they will get caught. Yeah, small person, yeah, I know. Yeah. So, break down the essay question. I'm not going to go into the details about essay question because I'm not 100% sure the essay question is still a good form of assessment. Very long time ago in Derby conference, Thomas Lancaster said that essay was dead even before the AI came. As soon as the Google is there, the essay was dead. Do not write the essay or sample paragraph. Oh, I forgot to mention that the acting as a tutor, somebody has found, I forgot the name of the author, they found that it will be really helpful for the neurodivergent students who are struggling to understand the normal lecture, and they want an additional form of assessment, and that is what they developed the app for those particular students as well. Right. So let us move on. I mean, it's only about 2 or 3 slides more. From AI-proof assessment to AI-resistant assessment. Do you think that we still have any AI-proof or AI-resistant assessment? Anyone? For sure that say, apart from exam, invigilated exam. I mean, if you ask me, no, I think we moved away from AI proof or AI resistant assessment. We can only call it AI resilient assessment, right? So that is what I'm going to use the term AI resilient assessment. Whatever we are going to say, the students are going to use AI. We try to make it as simple as possible or as difficult as possible to have setting up innovative assignment that would require human skills, at least to critical thinking, creativity, ethical reasoning, and synthesis of personal experience. So if you give a personalized data, then the AI would still be able to answer the question, but it won't be the right answer because it should be the personal experience. So these are not entirely mine, but I got it from different people, from different ways of assessment. So the best way for the AI resistant assessment would be the traditional invigilated exam. So it's a invigilated exam. AI is not allowed, the invigilated, and then the student able to answer it, but it won't help all the students. The other one is traditional essay report, but with an added oral defense. So, and then some universities, especially my university, they have given the percentage of mark for the oral defense higher than the essay. But again, there are some issues with the neurodivergent students. Probably some of them, they've been interviewed through, not face-to-face, through video link, but again, there are some other issues as well. And then another thing that this is actually one of our long-term ENI collaborator, Oliver. He actually suggested that it's a Socrates style student-led assignment. So there is a list of questions. The first question is, what is the essay you wanted to write to the student? The student will come up with their own question, engage with AI, and then they have a set of leading questions to make sure that student is verifying the AI output. And in the end, they will write an essay or write an answer. And then in the medical side of it, most of us, we are moving through the practical style assignment, like, the spot examination or involving a patient, ask them to treat it as well, treat them. We call it OSCE, objective structured clinical examination. But again, remember, these are subject specific. I don't know whether it can be applicable for a history student. But when I spoke to history lecturer, he said, yes, they can. As long as they got a sample or they got a photograph or something, they can have spot exam or something like that. So you need to be a bit innovative as well. The matrix-based application, I will give you some example in a minute, one example in a minute. And then analytical and critical thinking task is more or less, they go to the lab, they give a problem, or go to the patient side, they're given a problem, they need to do some analysis, and they need to diagnose what is the disease and also justify why they are diagnosing that as well. And again, this is subject specific. You need to think about how you can adapt that into your subject area as well. And then the process oriented evaluation, I'll show you one example. But again, all these need extra time. That means your time would be affected on that as well. So this is the matrix-based assessment, and this is where what happened was, this is actually, this question is developed by one of my colleagues in Roehampton. So they have given a structure of COVID-19 spike protein and the AS2 receptor and their binding. So it has been explained in the lecture. They have given the structure, and also they are pointing the student, you need to use the NCBI website, which is an AI regulated website, to get the answers. So they won't spend time on the ChatGPT anything, because they can get the ChatGPT to answer this question, but it will be very vague and superficial. So the first question would be, review the structure and try to find the binding area. They can only use that AI, the NCBI website AI, to develop that. And again, the beautiful of that is, depending on the student's input, the answer might be different. So each student will come up with own idea and own interaction. Some of them will be wrong, but many of them would be right as well. And also, then try to find the binding site. Then from the binding site, how can you target the binding site with a drug? And this we developed as an assessment strategy. However, I later found out that after a very long time, they have developed an antibiotic with the help of AI, and it's going to the clinical trial soon. Right, this is where you are going to hate me, and then when you started hating me, I will stop my presentation. So this is not new. This is not me who developed it. Actually, I developed it, but very long time ago in 2010 for another purpose, because in 2010 in the American style teaching, flipped learning came. That is where the students lead everything. We just sit there do nothing, or ask the right question. And then we don't need, sorry, we need a typical teaching room where the table and the desk are assessed together as well. So what we did was we transformed that and then tried to incorporate with the AI resilient assessment. So it's a process. It's a process-based assessment. So in the class week 1, the student come to the flipped learning room, and the questions are given. The students are asked to work together using the AI, but academics and the postgraduate students or postdoctoral students, every table there will be one of the tutor will be there. They will be leading the question, and they will make sure that the interactions with the AI are appropriate. Then at the end of the week 1, the student will go individually. At the home, they will write the draft, and then they submit to the tutor in week 2. And this is where the pain starts. Tutor got to go through the draft and give feedback, and then he will give on, say, probably on Monday and Tuesday. On Friday, there will be another in-class activity going through the feedback with the group. Then the student will work and upload it as well. So that will take about 2 weeks of your time, but at least we can make sure that the students are interacting with the AI, and marking criteria is mainly based on content accuracy, critical analysis, human verification, cohesive writing, and acknowledgement for AI use as well. So at least by doing that at least once in their lifetime as a student, we can tell them that this is the proper way to interact with AI. So just to, so ask the question. If you're asking an essay question, you got to ask about, instead of asking describe, explain, summarize, discuss, try to become more resilient question like justify, defend, synthesize or criticize, and then something like AI resilient type of question mode. But remember, this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to avoid students trusting AI fully, and then we wanted the human verification to achieve human-generated answers. However, I am 100% sure we will end up like this. But at least we are ending up like this, not like this. But to be honest, just for the just for telling you the story, it took about 1.5 hours for me to generate these 3 diagrams, the way I wanted. And I always tell that to the students, this is how the human verification works. Because the first, diagram or figure it produced was not the answer I wanted. So we need to prompt it, reprompt it. First of all, we need to define the intended learning outcome. Whether the intended learning outcome is AI resilient or not. So I'll give you an example in a minute. And we need to tell AI rules to the students. And that is where we in our university, we started using the front sheet, we call it. That is where all the information is given. This is what we wanted. So that can be lecturer specific. Some lecturer, they wanted that the student to use AI. So he need to clarify it, that AI use is acceptable for this and this, blah, blah, blah. And others say no AI is expected, right? That doesn't stop the student using that, but at least you are giving the instruction correctly as well. And then task design and prompt construction, whether it is contextualized towards the course materials, whether the student can get the answer or the start of the answer from the course material as well. And we need to evidence the process, draft or logs or annotation, we need to clarify the students as well. So I think we need to tell them what we wanted, rather than just saying, write an essay on modern Tbilisi or whatever. We need to tell what are the things we are expecting as well. And we need to tell the students about the authorship verification, marking rubrics, how it's going to be marked, and especially if the AI resilient assessment involved the Viva, then we got to say that Viva gets more mark than the other part, and we need to be clarifying as well. And also by doing that, we need to make sure that the neurodivergent students are not affected by your stringent work, because their learning pattern or learning ways of learning is different. So we need to entertain that as well. And then if you are using any type of AI detection, you need to say that I am going to use this for AI detection as well. I will try to leave the presentation with Giga, so you can get it from them if you want. So discuss the ethical issues associated with the use of artificial intelligence in healthcare. Is there any problem with that? This is a question. So as an academic, you developed it. I wanted you to just put up a hand whether you like this question or whether there are any issues with this. Anyone? So, there's no context given, no constraint given. So it's an open-ended question that AI can do without any problem, but it still comes up with superficial answer. And then discuss. It more or less, anything with a fluent explanation will get marked. And AI can do that effectively. And the ethical issues in artificial intelligence, they are too generic, frequently used topic, so AI can find that answer, and student will copy from that as well. The intended learning outcome is student will demonstrate understanding of ethical issue in AI. That means a high quality AI response could score very well with the intended learning outcome. So how to change that? We change the discuss into critical, so critically evaluate ethical trade-offs in the deployment of AI system in a defined healthcare context, justifying the decision under condition of uncertainty, regulatory constraint. This gives more context to the student to understand what is expected to them. Yes, they will still use the AI, but at least the AI will help them in a right way rather than a superficial way as well. So it requires evaluation, that means human evaluation. It introduces trade-offs and uncertainty and forces justification, not listing. So this is the intended learning outcome. So when you transfer that to the question will be transformed into, this is the question the student is going to read. You are a member of a hospital ethics committee reviewing the proposed use of an AI-based triad system in an emergency department. So probably you might not understand the question because you're not from the healthcare side of it, but the student who studied for at least 2 years, they can understand what triad system, what ethical committee for reviewing the triad system. Using the provided case material. So we are giving a personalized case material, not expecting to AI to generate something. And based on that case material, identify 2 competing ethical priorities, justify the recommendation, and then explicitly discuss uncertainty and limitation as well. By this, we are sure, yes, AI can answer it. That answer will be very, very superficial, and the student won't gain anything. He needs to have his own input. But the problem of that is this type of question may not be suitable for first-year students. This can only be in the second year, third year, when they have understood a little bit more about the subject area. So these are the issues we have as well. So to wrap up, the academic integrity in the AI era is about the problem, is about ethical judgment, transparency, and learning. But beyond redefining integrity, we must redesign assessment, embed AI literacy to the students, and normalize the transparency as well. So until now, this is the slide, but I am sure within probably 1 week or 2 weeks, I need to go back and change the slides. This is the uncertainty we are living because the AI is, we are actually using catch-up. And whatever I said, although it is based for the student teaching and learning and teaching, it also applies to you as a researchers. Instead of using the AI to get the answer, try to get the question from them, and you develop your own answer. Hope I tried to give some idea about what we've been doing in UK and European countries as well. And that doesn't mean that you haven't done that. You probably, many of you have you're already doing some sort of things. This is the time like this, we share our practices and then we learn from each other, because the AI is learning from each other. So why can't we learn from each other? And before I finish, I wanted to tell you one thing is that many of the university lecturers are trusting Copilot because it is inbuilt in Microsoft, and the Microsoft promised them that whatever uploaded will be considered as private as possible. I don't trust them.
How do I change? Can you change it to mine? So I'm going to do a very short presentation, and then we'll leave a little bit of time at the end for questions. And Roman, when I finish, Roman's going to come in and share something with you as well. 1 minute. Yeah, because we know that we're running out of time. Okay. So, sorry? Yeah. Right, so I'm Irene Glendenning. I'm retired, really. Honestly, I'm retired, but I don't work for Coventry University anymore, which is my long-time employer. But I do work for the European Network, and I'm very happy to do so. And just see if I can make this work. Oh, there we are. So I'm going to talk about. I'm doing a complementary talk to the other two, and I'm going to talk about the you know, the kind of nasty side of AI and the nasty side. But it's all broached under the term institutional integrity, which I'm sure you're all very good at. So I'm going to talk about embracing AI, which is an expression all my colleagues at Coventry were using all the time. Oh, Irene, we don't want to detect AI. We don't want to do any of that. We want to embrace AI, don't we? Of course we do. Right. And all that means. And then we're going to look at a little bit about what we need to do with the policies to make sure that we have embraced AI fully. I'm going to look at the institution's responsibility, and then I'm going to look at other roles and responsibilities, and then take home messages. And I've not got long. I'm going to go through it quite quickly. There's quite a lot of slides, but I'm going to skip one or two of them. So this is the term. I got quite angry about this. We were doing lots of, this was way back in, before ChatGPT time. We were doing interviews with colleagues, and everyone was saying, particularly the senior leadership team was saying, oh, we need to embrace AI. So what does that actually mean? Well, I don't know whether you can read that, so I'll read it out to you. Some of you are quite a long way. Making sure that everyone in the academic community can benefit from the ethical use of AI, adjusting institutional practices to encourage and promote integrity, including ethical uses of AI, and equipping the community with skills and knowledge that they need for future uses and for applications of AI. So that's all the positive side, which is all why it's in green. And here's the negative side. Highlighting that misuse of AI could lead to integrity breaches and knowing how to avoid them. Providing clear guidance and associated procedures for detecting and sanctioning misuse of AI to act as a deterrent. Providing tools and training to ensure that all forms of breaches of integrity are detected and that sanctions are applied. Acknowledging that failure to identify and sanction integrity breaches undermines quality and standards. And that we must be mindful of that we don't want to undermine our quality and standards by just allowing students to use AI in ways that are inappropriate. Also, accepting that cheating and corruption by anyone, not just students, is problematic, and we mustn't ignore it. Okay, so that's where I'm starting from. By the way, you can have copies of these slides if you want, that's fine. So how are we going to achieve all of that? So looking at changes to institutional policies to address ongoing developments in AI. So it's not something fixed, it's moving all the time, as we've already heard from the other presentations. So this is one big thing I think is very important, that you must consult internally and externally so that you can find out what's going on. And that will help to inform the policy and also the curriculum developments that both Tomasz and Shiva were talking about. To work with student groups so that they can help you to define and promote integrity in ways that students understand. To clarify the meaning and scope of integrity for everybody in the institution. So it's not just about students, it's not just about staff, it's about everybody. And it's about people like librarians, because they're having to face a lot of queries about non-existing sources that students are finding through AI and so on. To extend the definition of integrity breaches within your policies so that you can include and clarify what we mean by unethical uses of AI. And I'll show you some examples in a minute. To define responsibility of the institutional community for their actions on integrity, what they need to do. And this is really focusing very much on what Shiva was saying, to redesign curricula, methods of assessment, learning outcomes, assessment criteria, so that we develop appropriate graduate skills in both using and applying AI ethically. To require all assessment briefs to clarify requirements and limitations of AI use. So the kind of traffic light system that Shiva showed you as an example of that. There are more sophisticated ones that some people use as well. This is really important, to mandate annual training, at least annual training, maybe even more regular than that, or education and updates for everyone in the institution, not just students, on developments and changes, both to policies and to the way that the AI is developing and to new knowledge about how to deal with them. to train academic staff to improve the way that they can identify evidence and report cases of cheating. And of course, cheating isn't just about using AI. Students cheat in other ways, don't they? And that kind of cheating goes on. So for example, before we had ChatGPT, our biggest problem was students buying essays from essay mills or getting ghostwriters or other people to write their essays for them. That's still going on. It often involves AI rather than human writers these days, but nevertheless that's still going on. And so we need to be aware of that, and we need to make sure that all forms of integrity breaches are detected and that sanctions are applied to make sure that students aren't credited unfairly for the work that they haven't done. Also to train the decision makers, the people that make the decisions, that actually make the integrity and the misconduct systems work, so that they can look at the evidence and intelligently interpret that evidence, and also have a consistent understanding of what the burden of proof is. I don't know whether you're familiar with that term, but essentially what I mean by that is how much evidence do you need in order to say, there you are, you know, we've proved that you didn't do the work yourself. What is that burden of proof? So having a consistent message and consistent ways that is dealt with it will help with that. This last one's quite important as well, because things are changing quite regularly. Because when ChatGPT arrived, it was the end of November, wasn't it, in 22? And my institution said, no, we're only allowed to change the policies once a year, and that's in September. Right? So we can't change the policies. Actually, you have to be more flexible. You have to be able to change policies as things change. We know that, and therefore there needs to be a flexibility within the institution, so that if you need to you can change things again, even in the middle of an academic year. So there's a lot on that slide, but I think it's quite important to make those points and to think about those issues when you're looking at policies within the institution. So, institutional integrity is expensive, it costs money. We need to invest in people, resources, and the infrastructure so that we can enable, build, and develop a culture of integrity. That's what we want to have. We can talk about the negative side, but actually that's our aim and objective, isn't it? That's why we call it integrity rather than misconduct, because it's a culture of integrity. And Giga's new centre is brilliant for that, because that's what you're going to be doing, isn't it? You're going to be using that to develop a culture of integrity. So why do we want to invest in integrity? What are these big problems that we're trying to solve? And this is where I'm going to whiz very quickly through the next few slides. So these are my former institutions. This is our definition of integrity. This first slide, I'm not going to read them all. This first slide is what the traditional ideas are of integrity breaches, right? Copying, collusion, etc. I've got bribery in there as well. Falsification, fabrication. These are probably what you would imagine to be in a list of breaches. But these ones are not. These are much more complicated. And I'm not going to read them. But these are more about AI. These are more about the kind of modern types of cheating that you know, uploading assessment tasks to websites, for example, requesting help from an essay mill, unauthorised or acknowledged use of technological aids, which refers to AI, translating where you're not allowed to translate, all of those kind of things, deception, misrepresentation, and so on. So these are ones that might not be in your policy, but unless you tell the students that these are wrong, and these are examples of the types of things that you call cheating or integrity breaches or whatever language you want to use, unless you have those in there, the students could correctly claim that nobody told me that was wrong. Nobody told me I wasn't allowed to translate, etc. We also have a few more, which are all to do with this kind of remote form of assessment these days, like webcams and proctoring and those kind of things, which I won't go through, but you can have a copy of these if you're interested to look at those. And the last one is interesting, supporting another student to do any of those 20 things that I've talked about on the last 3 slides. That's also a type of misconduct. In addition to that, we have a separate list, that one, which is about research misconduct. So, you know, there are less things in that, but, you know, that's things like not getting ethical approval and things like that. So that's a very long-winded way of saying there are lots of things that students can do that we don't want them to do. And unless we tell them they're wrong, we can't expect them to just automatically know. So it's important that you do have those conversations with students. So, but it's important to say that integrity breaches are not confined to students. And in the research that I've done over quite a number of years, we've found that staff also sometimes get involved in encouraging students to cheat, particularly in countries where the staff are not paid a lot of money and so on, and they're in a precarious situation. So it's important that it's not just about student conduct, it's about staff conduct as well. It's very rare to uncover staff misconduct, but here are some examples, lots of them, of things that staff get involved in: bullying, bribery, sexual harassment, demanding authorship from your PhD student, absenteeism, expecting a student to look after the class when you're going off on another job, and so on. But another type of misconduct by staff is ignoring students' integrity breaches. We don't often think about that as a type of misconduct, but actually it is, because it's important that we do detect and we deal with misconduct to encourage students not to do it, and to make sure students don't get marked unfairly, disadvantaging other students and so on. So, looking at the time, because I know I'm running out of time, and I'm going to whiz through this very quickly. Institutions' responsibility on integrity and AI is to develop and maintain the culture, to keep abreast of the developments, to provide sufficient effective resources, technology, and trained people to promote and monitor and maintain integrity, reduce the number of integrity breaches. It would be nice to do that. But also to encourage innovation in teaching, learning, assessment, and so on. Particularly, wouldn't it be awful if we just went straight back to exams and had no other forms of assessment? Because, assessment can be very rich, and it provides learning opportunities in its own right. But also the institution must regularly monitor and review the policies to make sure they're effective and they're working, particularly the integrity ones. Roles and responsibility of staff, everybody, not just staff. Behave ethically, uphold integrity personally, set an example, formally report evidence, any suspicions, attend training, contribute to policy development. But also it's very useful and important to have a team of local experts. And this is where Giga's Centre comes in, because there should be an institutional lead, someone who's leading for the institution who can guide and help. Ensure the policies are working, coordinate training, serve as a local authority on integrity for providing guidance and support, and report back about any issues that are happening locally, and work as a team in doing that. So, responsibility is everybody's, right from those who have oversight of the institution, that may be external to the institution, to the governance, leadership, management, staff roles, and students. So everyone's responsible. I'm going to whiz through the last few slides. Students, important one. It applies for whatever level. Every student must take responsibility for their own integrity, receive annual clear and comprehensive training, all right? So they must receive that training and guidance, and that should be done throughout the student journey. Be educated on the ethical use of AI in their chosen field, and they should be encouraged to contribute to the development of policies. It's also in students' interest to report breaches of integrity, either by staff or students, and that can be done through a kind of closed system guaranteeing anonymity. All right, this slide is horrendous, and if you get a copy of these slides, have a look at this. These are all the things that you need to make sure students learn throughout their student journey. There's a lot of things. These are in addition to what is in the curriculum. And all of these things contribute to their ability to students' ability and staff's ability to create this culture of integrity, this institutional integrity. There are a lot of them. The key on that side is they're categorised on colour. There are a lot of different skills that students need to develop, and you can't assume that they arrive at university with those skills. So, linking integrity to quality, and I think there's only 2 slides more. Quality assurance and standards are underpinned by integrity. So if you don't have integrity, you can't claim to have good quality and standards within your institution. It's really important. I use this slide a lot because I think it's quite meaningful. So integrity underpins quality and standards. Everyone in HE is responsible for integrity. Everyone. Not just students, not just academic staff, but everyone. Institutional leadership is essential because that's where it comes from. And you are very lucky at Ilia State University to have that leadership from the top. Communication and mandatory training is very important. So everyone should have that training. And it's surprising how many people, the people that really need the training are often the ones that don't attend sessions like this, you know, that are important. Work with students and learners as partners. Regular monitoring reviews, I said most of that before. Take home messages, I said I would get to the end quickly. Here we go, sorry I've had to rush through. The institution must provide the necessary infrastructure for maintaining integrity, that's really important. AI can be used for positive purposes, but it can also be used unethically, and it's important to be clear about where that kind of grey area is in the middle. Good assessment design can deter, but it doesn't prevent academic integrity breaches, which is really what Shiva was saying in his, and also what Thomas was saying in his. Students must be guided on what they may do and what they're not allowed to do. If you don't tell them anything, you can't expect them to be, you can't complain if they're confused. Some students will cheat despite all the efforts to persuade, and that number of students who will cheat will depend on your culture of integrity within your institution. So students with a good culture of integrity will have less students cheating than those that don't care or very much. So, and some institutional employers will behave unethically and corruptly as well, which is less easy to find. AI and other technology will continue to change in ways that we can't predict. So, I've got a couple of references there that I referred to in the slides. I probably went too fast for you to even notice them. And, and thanks for listening. So I'm going to stop there. That was a whistle stop. And would you like to come up now, Roman, and share your institutional...
1 minute, don't take me like granted, like it's going to be like 60 seconds, but I will be really quick. I'm the last one who's going to give you something, but you won't be carrying anything home physically. So this is the digital era as well. And I just want to give an example that reflects some things that you have already heard from my colleagues. And if you type in a Google artificial or AI Suni, I'm from Charles University, so it's C like Charles and University, AI Suni. It will take you to the web page that is devoted to artificial intelligence at my institution, and I just wanted to sensitize you about this web page. You can browse, you can take an inspiration, and it can give you some guidance how it may look, perhaps, and you can adapt, get inspired by that. It introduces the official position of AI at the Charles University. It gives
and it's in English, isn't it?
It's in English, yes. Yeah. It gives recommendations on safe use of AI tools. It gives recommendations on how to deal with AI as it comes to thesis. It reflects or gives information to educators, students, research staff, but also, for example, it has a position to that it should be affected by primary and secondary education. This is what Shiva was talking about, that we will once receive students who are now receiving primary education. And there are some other things as it comes to generative AI, and of course you can find a contact to the person, to people who are involved in developing the web page, and also positioning at the Charles University. and I'm sure that they will be happy if you contact them if you are involved in such activity. A minute and a half. Yeah. Thank you very much.
So that's the end of our presentation slide. I hope you enjoyed those, and I hope you learned something or you've got something out of those. But now we have about 10 minutes or so. So if you've got any questions, we're very happy to answer those, or comments. You know, if you want to actually make any comments. Oh, I think we've got a roving mic somewhere. So if anyone's got any questions or comments, please put your hand up and somebody will come and put a mic under your nose. No questions? Are you all asleep? No, anyone awake? Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, being a representative of very old already generation and passing through the life without any artificial intelligence, but being focused very much on my subject of expertise, which is history, international relations. How much time do you think should I dedicate to this stuff? Because it definitely distracts me from my subject. That's my question.
Can I ask you, are you still teaching students?
Yes.
Yes, you are. So, and do you think your students should learn to use AI in order to?
Well, I think they do it much better than me.
Right.
I feel it. I do not prohibit them doing that, but we just discuss. I feel them whether what is their genuine understanding, knowledge, and if they use for it AI, well, by and large, that's okay.
So have you in any way changed the way that you ask students to do work for you, to change the way that you assess the students?
Well, they still too much. I hijacked the timing. No, I still ask them to write an essays, but they have to do oral presentations. These oral presentations give me the sense, and again the essays are under on such a specific item on the articles which we discussed already, that if they go beyond to some other stuff with the topic, that's not what I expect them to do. We just need to discuss, analyze particular authors, particular articles, and in order to do it, they need to read these materials. If they additionally use AI, that's not a big deal for me. But I feel like whether they read this article themselves or not.
But the way that you're assessing them means that you can easily determine whether they've understood the material that they've written about. So, can I just ask you how big your classes are? How many students you have?
Very few.
Well, you're very lucky.
5.
You are very lucky indeed.
Yeah, the original question was how much time should I invest? Yes. So I would say like half an hour at least to try and to get an impression what the students might be doing with that tools, and then we will see.
I mean, and also just to highlight a little bit, highlight a little bit more about is that I think you are blessed because you got a very small number of students. But some of the stuff, if you feel that it's going to take a lot of time, do it in class. And probably I think all of you will agree that we are the one profession that we overwork and underpaid because we care about the students. So I have a feeling that in your case that you wanted to help the students, and that's the reason you wanted to know a little bit more. But my answer for that is, if you've got a small number of students, do the innovative ideas, whatever we discussed within the class, that would at least minimize your working time outside the university time. Yeah.
May I propose a suggestion? The essay that you doubt is not original. You can copy and paste into AI and ask, what are the critical questions that the author should not be able to answer if it were generated by you? And the answers themselves. And then ask those questions. There can be 10 random questions. You can randomly choose first, third, fifth, whichever, and check against the answers proposed by the AI itself. And then just see, and then it's up to your judgment where the answers are close to the proposed one, or related somehow indirectly, or not related, and then you have good argument.
Yeah, perhaps I will quickly jump in here because I also looked at the question. You mentioned that the AI detection software is already there, at least in case of the English language text. So you don't have searching for Georgian texts. Do you have it for Czech Republic? I mean, the texts that are written in the Czech language. And what is your overall experience about using the AI detection tools if your institutions have this kind of practice?
At least our university strongly recommends not to use any such software because these softwares are generally unreliable and they don't give you proof, and it's technically impossible to reliably detect AI-generated text. Yeah? Because it's just some statistics that you can get from some patterns, but then you have never the proof that it was really generated by AI, and the students who are accused from them that they don't have anything they can use for their defense. Yeah? So it can be some indication, so it can be used to, let's say, trigger some discussion and to have the conversation and then to figure out whether the students understand the topic or not. But there is no proof, and every detector has solved false positives and false negatives, so we are never 100% sure.
So one of the list of cheating things that I didn't read out to you in that long list was students are not allowed to submit fake references. So if they have fake references, and that is an offence in itself. So there are clues in there. The way that you structure your policies might help you to provide that kind of level of proof.
Maybe my question doesn't refer to the subject that we're discussing today regarding the integrity of using, but as a teacher, I always think, last 3 or 4 years, what will be the teaching like within 10 years? When we're talking now about maybe students or high school students, right? But we have a new generation coming that is using it. And what is AI is very good at is giving a structure to the text, right? And I noticed that children of various age are sort of outsourcing this capacity of our mind to do this. And this will change forever, I think, the teaching, the education industry, right? How all this fits, and maybe you can recommend something, whether there are some ideas in this regard. Because we cannot stop using it.
Yeah. I have to say,
no matter we have, guidelines and all this.
I'm worried about what's happening in secondary schools. I'm worried that the teachers themselves haven't had any training in a lot of schools. And yet they're expected to cope with the situation. So I think that's one of the big unknowns. One of the things that I don't know what's happening, what the kind of relationships are in Georgia with your kind of feeder schools. But one of the things you could do is to work with the schools in order to help the teachers to equip them with the skills to be able to
teach students about ethical use of AI at a much earlier age. I have no idea what's happening in school. I don't think there's enough research going on to find out, or enough initiatives going on to help the teachers. But I might be wrong. I'm sure in some places things are happening, but I'm not aware of them.
Well, as it comes to, it is not only about AI, it is also about technology, if we talk a little bit wider. And there is a technoference in parenting, let's say. So we shall not only expect that the school is going to do the job, or the education is going to do the job. It is more key players in that. How can technology be part of our lives? This is one of the remarks. And the other remark is, so let's just equip and educate parents on how they can talk to their children, how can they teach them how to use technologies more wisely. This is one thing. And the other thing is, of course, there is some generation gap, and there'll always be a generation gap. But I'm kind of optimistic in some sense that children will be able to cope with technology, and schools are already taking some action how to filter, at least to some extent, the technology from the education. So it is not only that children will be using AI tools even in the first grade or fifth grade. They need to get some skills, and this is where we can somehow prevent, this is how we can educate, this is how we can sensitize children and how to teach them to use the technologies wisely. So it's much broader area or much broader perspective that I want to introduce here. It is not about the devil AI. It is about the technologies and they are becoming integrated part of our lives.
Yeah, I mean, just to add on that, if you ask me that we as a university academic, we need to work collaboratively with the school teachers, which is, I found it very difficult in UK context, because they got the nationalized curriculum and they are more worried about delivering that curriculum, and they don't have time to spend on teaching the technology, and not only AI, the technology as well. And that is where, I don't know about European funding, but UK-based funding are so limited to the university to do a collaborative work with the schools. And that is the thing that I highlighted, because these students are going to come after 3 or 4 years learning by themselves without any guidance, and we need to tackle it. And a question like him, what can I do? Because we are concerned, but maybe it might be too late, because they need to learn the right thing.
Thank you very much for this amazing presentations, ideas, and everything. Yesterday I received an excellent assignment. That was I teach communication and healthcare leadership. And I received an amazing assignment that was a blog about one of the issues in healthcare. Finally, I understood that was elaborated totally by AI. So now I'm very challenged. How should be my first communication with the student? Maybe it's better, it makes sense to grab some of your messages and share with them. Maybe it's worth to have separate meeting with them about all these issues, but I'm not a professional of this class. So what is your practical advice? How to start? Like in my example, not in the long-term development phase, but just instantly.
Can I just say it depends on your institutional systems and policies. So I don't know how you do it in your institution, but certainly in my institution, the lecturer would report that would report it to
an academic conduct officer who would then talk to the students. So it's taken off the hands of the lecturer themselves. But I don't know how your system works in your institution. So it's up to you really to find out what your institution expects of you. And but I wouldn't advise you talking to the student, but that might be the system that you have in your institution.
But you have to prove, right, that this is the AI generated.
You don't have to prove anything. I mean, you start by having a conversation with the academic conduct officer, in my case, would have a conversation with the student about, based on the evidence that they've got. In terms of how you prove, can I just ask the lady who asked the question, how did you know it was AI generated?
Very easy. They even did not remove the lines.
Okay, right. So yeah, absolutely. Well, in that case, you don't need any proof. But that is your proof. You've got the proof already. So, assuming, well, perhaps somebody has it in this institution, is it up to the lecturer to have those conversations? Yeah. So in that case, you would talk to the student and present the evidence to them and ask them why they thought that was an appropriate thing to do to start the conversation, and then talk to the student perhaps about what the consequences are of not doing the work themselves. That's how I'd start the conversation. Anyone want to join in?
Yeah, I think the most important shift in our thinking as a teachers is that we have to accept that we can't assess students based solely on homework. Yeah, it can be some supportive things, but then we have to reliably verify that they gain the knowledge. Yeah, it's the same like if you have kids in the first grade and they learn how to add and multiply, so you can't verify that they didn't use calculator when doing the homework. But then the homework is not the assessment, yeah? That they will write a test in the classroom, supervised, and that's how you verify that they really learn how to perform that medical operation. So, of course, several levels higher, but the principle is same here.
One of the things that we are planning to do is not for detection, even before detection, that when the new cohort starts, let us have more or less an open conversation about asking them how they are using the AI, or how currently they are using the AI. That might be,
They deny.
No, I'm talking about when they start fresh, and then we will tell them that this is nothing about detection or anything. It's just wanted to understand, to help you to improve their interaction with the AI. So we asked the question that what are the things you are using for AI, how you are using AI, and we try to indirectly tell them that they themselves will come, oh yeah, all this time I was doing more or less unethically. So at least we can try to persuade the students who are worried about self-discipline. But yes, there will be a hardcore of students, we can't stop that. But again, I think you are blessed because you are from healthcare communication. So there are ways to provide AI resilient questions as much as you can. But yeah, it's a constant struggle. But I have a feeling that having the open conversation at the beginning, not about detection or anything, even after the induction week, we have actually we do it with the international students because they got different background. So we just want to understand what are your background, what is your English look like, and what is your professional English look like, how you are using AI. So we are not only asking about negative things, but I just want to know their background so that we can help.
Okay, as I see there are not many questions. Yeah. I once again want to thank you for coming, for finding time in your schedule. Thank you to our guests for delivering. These presentations will be sent to you via email, and we will also send the recording as well.
Thank you.